Hello everyone, welcome to Study IQ English. We all know that the 16th Finance Commission has given some of its important recommendations and it has decided now how the money shall be shared between the centre and the state governments from the time period of 2026-27 until 2030-31, as many states, particularly the highly industrialized states of southern India, continue to have the complaint that still they are not getting much benefit out of this. But the central government has been very positive, and the central government says this marks a new phase of fiscal discipline, fiscal federalism, where we shall focus more on efficiency. We shall focus more on growth, productivity and discipline rather than making the states happy in the short term. Now let's remember that many states are still unhappy. They are unhappy because they feel once again not much financial justice has been done to them. So therefore, the main cause behind this injustice is the belief that even in the 16th Finance Commission, there has been no change in the total divisible pool of taxes. So it stands at 41%. The divisible pool has not increased even a little bit beyond 41%. It continues to be the same. As state governments were claiming for 50%, they are complaining today. But what does the centre say? The central government has responded by saying that maybe they are getting a feeling like that due to additional cess and surcharges. Now, do not forget a few things. As we are talking about the Finance Commission, remember, we are referring to Article 280 of the Indian Constitution that deals with Finance Commission. And as we are talking about the sharing of money from centre to the states, we are looking at the process of vertical devolution. Vertical devolution, where the central government shares money from its divisible tax pool among the states, and if you look at how that share is distributed further between various states, then that refers to as horizontal devolution. In India, for a very long time now, both have been under controversy. If you look at the vertical devolution controversy, it is related to the fact that the divisible tax pool, the amount of money that will be shared with the states, has not gone up. It is fixed at 41%. Then another issue is that government will never share its collection of cess and surcharge with the states. Now, these are specially created taxes, okay, for specific purposes, but they are not meant to be a part of the divisible pool. So the states are complaining the centre's revenue may be increasing through these measures, but that's not a benefit that will be given to the states. And why does the centre say, I am not going to increase more than 41% in the divisible pool? Because central government says, I have to keep certain fiscal space. I need more money when it comes to financing national obligations such as defence, critical infrastructure, large-scale projects, then strategic developments as well as disaster management. So I cannot increase the share to more than 41%. But the states in India were demanding for 50%. So that's a clear-cut disappointment. Now from there, if we move towards another issue, that is horizontal devolution. Not just the fact that the share of divisible pool has not gone up. Even when you talk about horizontal division, for a very long time there has been a controversy here. So states in the southern Indian belt, typically like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka, they have a higher state GDP. They contribute more when it comes to India's total overall economic growth. These states feel that even after the fact that they have been able to reduce their fertility rate, their population has declined. They have achieved a higher literacy rate. Overall economic social development is better in these states. They have a higher industrial output and much more employment generation too. Despite that, the central government has always given more money to the relatively poor states. Because when you talk about horizontal devolution, in India for a very long time, the criteria that was used was one, population, and the other, relative backwardness. Income distance. If a state does not have sufficient income, sufficient revenue receipt, then the central government will help the state. And for states which are overall experiencing economic backwardness, they will be given more states. So in a way, we can conclude that the richer states were compensating for the loss of poor states. And that is something that these rich states were complaining against. They said, we must reward efficiency. Why are we rewarding criteria like backwardness? Agreed that India is committed to distributive justice, agreed that India believes in socialistic democracy, but we must reward justice too. So has this time anything changed? Yes. Big change has come. The Central Finance Commission, 16th Commission, has done a major change. It says now we will also include state GDP, state gross domestic product contribution, as a major criteria for getting funds, and that will get 10% weight, and that is about rewarding efficiency. Now states which contribute more to India's economic growth will get more funds, and that's very, very transparent. This, however, will not be an immediate move. Central Finance Commission says if we do it as an immediate move, then the poorer states who have historically been dependent on more money from the center will experience a problem. And that is against distributive justice. So this will happen slowly as a balance between rewarding efficiency and supporting people and states who really need more support. At the same time, there are more changes that have happened. For example, tax effort has now been removed as a weightage criteria in horizontal devolution. Earlier, 2.5 was the tax effort weightage. Why? Because today the central government says just because a state can collect a good amount of tax, it doesn't mean that the state is more efficient necessarily. Because tax collection is not just about efficiency, it's also about the narrow tax base. Maybe there's a narrow tax base. Maybe people are more aware. Maybe there's more compliance. Size of states are different. Population is different. So tax effort weightage will be now removed. At the same time, there are other criteria like population weightage that have gone up. Similarly, weightage has been reduced for area, demographic performance and per capita GSDP distance. That means now, rather than only giving money to those who are facing deficiency and poverty, we will reward those who are high earners and high contributors. And naturally, this is some kind of efficiency promotion. And states like Maharashtra, which are highly industrialized, states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Gujarat, they will stand as winners in that case, although they are still complaining that overall much change has not come. But it is much better than previous time. Then there are certain other states like say UP, Bihar, which may experience some loss because now the criteria are soon changing. They are rewarding efficiency, not necessarily income gap. And this will have major political economic implications for India. Now, at the same time, the government has said one more interesting thing. The government is saying we are not going to provide for any revenue deficit grants. And this is a milestone really. Why? Because so far, if any state was failing to meet its expenditure, if the revenue expenditure of a state, revenue expenditure, expenses that you spend for daily functioning, if those expenditures were higher than your revenue income receipt, then the central government used to come and fill up that balance. It used to provide you that extra money. But now the center says we are not going to do that. If we continue to give revenue deficit grants, then states are completely getting dependent on the center. But now the government wants states to raise their own revenue and control their spending in a smart manner. Do remember, same controversy happened when GST was reformed in 2025. The central government said after 2022, we do expect that all the states will now be able to adjust to the new GST tax regime, and we are not going to provide any special GST compensation either. So that's an important thing. And now this means that state level self-reliance and fiscal discipline are the key emerging criteria this time. Apart from that, there are a few more things that are noticeable. For example, under the new Finance Commission, a major support is coming for ULBs, local bodies. So do remember 1992, 74th Amendment Act. Do remember 12th schedule of the Indian Constitution, and the government is saying we are allocating to rural and urban local bodies an amount of 7.91 trillion rupees over 5 years. So that means both 73rd, 74th Amendment are important here. Panchayats, urban local bodies, municipalities, Schedule 11 and Schedule 6 of the Constitution, and the share will be distributed between rural to urban in a ratio of 60-40. The government will focus on schemes like water supply, sanitation, urban infrastructure, a very important development, because ever since there was a change in Manrega, ever since the government was not spending too much on schemes like Amrut, people were questioning whether the central government is walking away from its responsibility of financing the states for welfare and urbanization policy. So this rather comes as an answer to that question. And now if you look at another area, that's disaster management, a massive allocation for that. 2.4 trillion for State Disaster Response and Mitigation Fund, 79,000 rupees crore for National Disaster Funds. An allocation is based on new disaster risk index. So again, a very customized form of support to highly vulnerable states, more support coming from the center. So these are some of the highlights where the controversy was erupting about the 41% share of divisible tax pool. So be very clear with these concepts and now try to answer this question with reference to the recommendations of the new commission, Finance Commission, Article 280. Look at these statements. 1. The commission retained states' share in divisible pool at 41%, but states were demanding 50%. It introduced state GDP contribution as new criteria to horizontal devolution and completely removed revenue deficit grants for the first time. And 3. The Commission increased the weight of tax effort and per capita GSDP distance to protect poor and more populous states. Which of these statements are valid? Now, should you want an answer to the question, you could subscribe to the Telegram channel where I keep my students posted on answers, on various inputs, answer writing strategy, Hindu newspaper PDF and many more exciting inputs for UPSC. You can scan the code and join our community. And do remember, as we take this video to its conclusion, that we are running a very, very affordable and very effective sale program for 2026 prelims, SIP, Success in Prelims, at a price of only $4,999. You get complete GS paper 1 and CSAT guaranteed. Lots of practice, books, materials, everything with revision. But if you want more discount on the price, use code SPLIVE because the batch will begin on 10th February. And in case you are studying for 27 and 28, then fresh batches are beginning on 7th February. Prices are very, very friendly. Say for example, 26,999 were one for 1 full year of preparation. With code SPLIVE, more discount, whether English, Hindi or bilingual, all are included here. And similarly for 2028, we are starting a batch on 7th February, but you need to act a little early because 7th February is until when you can avail this price at further discount by using code SPLIVE. So ensure your selection, join these courses, a great opportunity. Thank you so much.